Okay, now that I've had about a week to soak it all in and let the hype wave die down, as well as take a closer look at what was presented, I think it's time that I gave my clear-headed and organized thoughts on the trailer for the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. It probably comes as no surprise that a good handful of fans were a little disappointed that the trailer didn't announce any games outside the mainline series. I'll touch on that later in the video because I have a few different points to make. But am I personally disappointed? No, not in the slightest. Would I have liked to see more than just the main 6 games? Absolutely. The more Mega Man the better, and I think that there may be some missed opportunities here. But, Mega fans, we have to remember, this is only the first announcement trailer with at least one more coming in the future, likely just before or on the day of launch. The reason that I'm not disappointed is because, to be frank, I expected this before the collection was even announced. I've been a fan of Mega Man for as long as I can remember, and I've seen it go through various phases as the years have gone by. I was there for the SNES, the N64, the PS1 and 2, the GameCube and Xbox eras, as well as the GBA and DS. And you know something that I noticed over the years? I personally think that in terms of sheer gaming content, Capcom did a better job with the first wave of Mega Man collections than they do with the Legacy collections. At least in regards to the Classic and X collections. The 0ZX collection is pretty good. What I mean by this is that the Mega Man Anniversary Collection included Mega Man 1 through 8, 9 and 10 weren't out yet, and 11 wouldn't be released until after the Legacy Collection was already out. But in addition to the art gallery and music player, the MMAC also included 2 arcade games, the Power Battles and Power Fighters. The Mega Man X Collection, which came out shortly afterward, only included X1 through 6, with X7 and X8 being on the same generation of console, the PS2. But in addition to those 6, it also included what has so far been the only English release of Mega Man Battle and Chase, which is basically Mega Man Mario Kart. But the X Legacy Collection only gave us X1 through 8. No Battle and Chase, let alone the other spin-offs or bonus games like the Extreme Games or Command Mission. Just the same, the Classic Legacy Collection didn't give us Mega Man and Bass or Mega Man Soccer. Both Legacy Collections do include challenge modes though, like boss rushes, speedruns, and combo boss battles. So while I can understand some frustration that the first trailer didn't announce any particular kind of bonus game mode for the EXE Collection, I personally think that it was expecting too much for them to include Battleship Challenge, EXE 4.5, and Network Transmission, let alone the WonderSwan games, one of which is just a worse BCC, or an even further stretch, the mobile games. So no, I wasn't disappointed with what games were included. I went into this not even expecting to get a collection. At this point, I was just expecting the individual games to be dumped onto the Switch Online's GBA expansion that will eventually come out. Needless to say, I'm ecstatic about the collection, but I will also say that we need to have a discussion about the trailer, as well as some other factors centered around the Rockman EXE IP. Before I begin this next part, I will say that I learned a lot of this info from ShadowRockZX's most recent Mega News Breakdown video, and I will be repeating a lot of what he said, even if shorter, but I will also give my own thoughts on what was presented. I recommend all of you check out his video if you haven't already. ShadowRock is a great guy, and he's been working really hard with all the content he makes, and has been in the game of making Mega Man videos a lot longer than I have, so please, check out his channel and give him a lot of support. But moving on, let's take a closer look at the trailer, or should I say the trailers, both the Nintendo Mini Direct and the Solo Battle Network trailer, as well as the Japanese version. If you watch both the English and Japanese trailers, you can see that it's the exact same gameplay being used in both cases. The reason I find this strange is because it's very hard to replicate the exact same results on multiple attempts, but the footage is exactly the same. The only difference seems to be the language of the text used on screen. By now, many of us have noticed and pointed out that the text font seems off compared to the GBA version. At first, I was thinking that it may be a retranslation of the original Rockman EXE games, and had some hope that they may have fixed Battle Network 4's copious amount of spelling errors. But if you watch the trailer frame by frame, you can see right here that there is actually an overlay on the custom screen. It moves just before the screen does. So I don't think that this is actually the finalized text. I personally think that this is just some video editing done for the presentation. If you check the link to ShadowRock's video, he goes into a bit more detail on the subject, how this overlay may be in the game itself instead of just editing, but me personally, I think it's just some movie magic. I still hope that they fix the grammar and spelling errors from the games, especially for Battle Network 4 and 5, but I'm not staking money on it. Now, let's hop on over to the official Battle Network Collection website. We can check out some of the early release specs of the game. We see that Part 1 is going to include Battle Network 1 and 2, as well as both versions of 3, while Part 2 is going to have both versions of 4 through 6. But we have one small concern here. Take a look at the number of players. It's listed as 1. Initially, I had some pipe dream of maybe having local PvP using preset folders. Like in Battle Network 3 through 6, you can find extra folders with pre-made chip loadouts. I was thinking, what if they did just a flat base 1000 HP, gave you an extra folder, and you could fight with a buddy on the same system? My hopes have dwindled after seeing this. Some people are concerned that this means that there will be no online play either. I honestly don't think that's going to be an issue. Given how big the online net battling community is, even to this day, Capcom surely would include online PvP or local wireless PvP with the Nintendo Switch. It would be foolish of them not to, as well as just a complete failure to read their audience. Additionally, if you look at the back cover of several of the Battle Network games, you can see that it's listed as only one player, but it does say that you have to have a link cable to do multiplayer. Additionally, you have games like Transformers War for Cybertron or Halo 5 Guardians, to where it says you can only play as one player on the same console, but multiplayer is available wirelessly. So they're probably just listing it as a single player game because that's all you can play as on the same console. I don't think we have to worry, fellow net battlers. We'll get our online PvP. Another topic that I think needs to be addressed about these games being ported to updated consoles. Will these games be censored? I ask this because the Mega Man Zero collection for DS, as well as the Zero ZX Legacy collection, censored the words "die" and "kill" from the script of Zero 2. Battle Network uses these words, as well as having occasional swearing. Of course, that's just in Battle Network 2, but still. Yai also shamelessly says that Lan missed the opportunity to see her naked. These are kids, 11 and younger. Yeah, that might get censored. I'm not sure though, because every English release of Mega Man X4 still has Zero saying damn. On the subject of removing content, are the Boktai crossovers still going to be in this collection? I honestly am not sure at this point. As pointed out to me by Model R, the trailer doesn't credit Konami or Hideo Kojima. We have no visual indicators to confirm things one way or another. The closest thing we get is that we see Shademan is in the Draki computer, but this really doesn't confirm anything. They could have removed or replaced Django if they couldn't renew the rights to use his likeness again. It's been about 7 years since the games were released on the Wii U. A lot happens in 7 years. A lot. I honestly am hopeful, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Boktai content ended up being removed or reskinned. If they are using the Japanese versions of the games, but translated, like with the other Legacy collections, we may see the Boktai side quests from Battle Network 6 finally have an official English localization. On the flip side, maybe the terms of the contract have changed and all Boktai content will be cut from Battle Network 4 through 6. We do know that Hideo Kojima, the creator of Boktai, made a few posts on Twitter regarding the Battle Network Legacy collection, but since he's no longer with Konami, this really doesn't mean much at face value. The absolute best case wildest dream scenario would be Konami and Capcom reached a deal and are planning to use the Battle Network Legacy collection to bring Boktai back into the public eye and then re-release Boktai on modern platforms too. I know it's not likely, but let me dream for just a minute, please. But what about a special game mode? The other Legacy collections have them, right? So what would Battle Network get? Well, this one is a hard one to answer. I would love to see another boss rush or boss tag team system similar to the XLC. Have 2 or 3 themed Navis fighting you at once. Make it like Mr. Match's 3 Navis, Fireman, Heatman, and Flameman, or better yet, because Battle Network has elemental terrain types, you could do like Freezeman with Thunderman, where electric attacks do more damage while you're standing on ice panels. Or maybe a Dark Messiah team-up, where you fight Base Deluxe and Gospel at the same time. Or better yet, Ultimate Crossover, Soul Cross Mega Man versus the Count and Shademan. Fight the Dark Team Leaders from Battle Network 5, where it's you versus Dark Colonel, Dark Proto Man, and Dark Mega Man. That would be cool, but I imagine that it would be difficult to implement, since every Battle Network game has different mechanics and battle chips, so there need to be some kind of middle ground. Maybe give the player a set folder, but no styles, souls, crosses, or beast out. Just base form Mega Man, or maybe another playable Navi. Again, not impossible, but I don't think Capcom loves us that much to make it a reality. Outside of that, or a time attack, or maybe something basic like a full gauntlet of every boss in every game sequentially, I can't really think of anything specific to hope for as a bonus mode. Outside of hopes for the game, I think we need to address some other aspects of Rockman EXE. As many of you have correctly pointed out, my video about Rockman EXE's preservation problem is now obsolete, at least on the front of the games. With that said, some of you may or may not have noticed that at the end of the trailer, it seems that Andrew Francis, the voice actor of Mega Man EXE from the NT Warrior anime, said the title of the collection.
Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection.
He also made a post saying, quite indirectly, that he has been requested to come back to reprise the role of Mega Man.exe. I don't think that was just for this one voice line. If I'm perfectly honest with myself, I think this means one of 3 possibilities. The first is related to the Legacy Collection. You remember how the XLC came with the Day of Sigma OVA, despite that originally being exclusive to Maverick Hunter X on PSP? Well, what if the BNLC gave us a piece of Rockman EXE animation as a bonus? And what would that be? I would likely say that it could be the movie Program of Light and Darkness. They call that a movie, but if you chop off the Duel Masters crossover at the beginning, the whole thing is only roughly 48 minutes, and barely cracks 50 even with that short. Day of Sigma was about 25 minutes though, so this is double the length. I actually had entertained this idea before finding out that the VA was returning, albeit I only imagined it being subtitled, so this may or may not strengthen that possibility. The second idea is that they may be making an entirely new animation surrounding Mega Man EXE. In the post, Francis said that the role was for a cartoon. I get that anime is just Japanese cartoons, but several people do draw a distinction. But for the moment, let's assume that it's not the rest of the anime, an entirely new project. Maybe it's a series or a movie that's a little more faithful to the games, or maybe they're doing like a Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood where they follow the manga version. Who knows? But to me personally, the best possible outcome would be that he's coming back to finish dubbing the rest of the series. Stream, the movie, Beast, and Beast Plus. This in turn could preserve the anime for much, much longer. Objective quality of the anime and writing notwithstanding, I don't want to see this version of Rockman EXE disappear, and this would take great steps towards keeping it alive. But that's all I have for that particular topic. One last tiny piece of info for you. The English Legacy collections have different names in Japan. While over here, they're all unanimously called Legacy Collections, in Japan they're listed as Rockman Classics Collection, Rockman EXE Anniversary Collection, Rockman Zero and ZX Double Hero Collection, and the most recent one is Rockman EXE Advanced Collection. So to me, that says that getting the other games, like Mega Man and Base, Battle and Chase, The Extremes, or the other EXE games isn't impossible. They'd just be put on a separate collection. For example, maybe with Mega Man Legends, they'd be put together in something called Rockman 3D Adventures Collection, with Legends 1 and 2, Command Mission, and Network Transmission. Or possibly Rockman Gaiden Collection, with the Misadventures of Tron Bonne, Mega Man and Base, Rockman EXE 4.5, and the EXE and Legends mobile games. I think that the mobile games might get a re-release pretty soon because it's very rare for Capcom to intervene during fan projects, and yet they shut down a Phantom of the Network remake. Kinda like how Nintendo shut down the Metroid 2 fan remake shortly before dropping their own Samus Returns remake. I'm not betting on this, but I do think it's a possibility. And if I manage to predict any of these titles correctly, I'm gonna flip my lid. On that note, I also have some thoughts on how the Star Force collection might play out. Honestly, I think that it's not only possible that we'll get a Star Force collection, but inevitable. I saw the Battle Network re-release as the last big hurdle for the main series collections. Side games notwithstanding, I don't think that Capcom has any reason to not make collections for, at the bare minimum, Star Force and the 3 Legends titles that were on PS1. But those are a discussion for another video. On the whole, I think this is all just one big experiment. I think Capcom is gauging interest in Rockman EXE to see if it's worth reviving. I do remember hearing about a year ago that ShowPro was taking polls to see who would be interested in the anime receiving official English subtitles. I predict that the success of the Legacy Collection will determine if we see a resurgence in Rockman EXE as an IP, in terms of the anime, manga, merchandise, and possibly even new games in the future. I also really want Boxhide to come back, so this would honestly be the first step. As for when will the collection be released, I have one theory. I think it'll be in late February or early March. My reason for thinking this is that is when the Wii U eShop goes offline, thus taking the digital version of the main 6 Battle Network games with it. If the collection releases around then we won't be without them for very long. I can't guarantee that that's when it'll happen, but I think that would be the smartest release dates for them to put on it. But what do you think? Am I being too optimistic for once? Have any of these ideas already been confirmed or disproven? I know that news does travel fast, and I may have missed something. What bonuses do you hope to see in the Battle Network Legacy Collection? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.